Welcome back, Focus Learners. Let's jump straight into today's explainer because we're tackling something that hits absolutely everyone's daily routine. And let's be honest, our wallets. We are breaking down the luxury skincare myth. We're going to put premium branding head to head with proven results and expose the hidden truth behind the astronomical prices of 5 major high-end brands. And definitely stick around for the whole breakdown because when we hit brand number 3, the reality gets pretty wild. So get comfortable and let's unravel what you are actually paying for when you buy luxury skincare. So imagine this. What if some of the world's most prestigious skincare brands are charging you hundreds of dollars for formulas that cost less than a cup of coffee to actually manufacture? It sounds completely nuts, right? But we really need to look at the data here. We've all kind of been trained to assume that a massive price tag guarantees rare hand-harvested ingredients or decades of groundbreaking clinical research. But what if you're quite literally just paying for a heavy glass jar and a really, really clever marketing story? All right, let's kick things off with a heavy hitter, La Mer. This brand is absolutely everywhere. Celebrities love it. Influencers are constantly hyping it up online, and their famous cream will easily set you back hundreds of dollars for a single jar. It basically holds the ultimate reputation as the holy grail of high-end skincare. Now, that massive price tag usually hinges on one very specific proprietary claim. And in La Mer's case, it's their famously trademarked Miracle Broth. The name itself implies this incredible exclusivity, right? Like it's some magical elixir brewed in a secret lab over months of careful observation. And that phrasing is very specifically designed to justify handing over a massive chunk of your paycheck for a standard-sized moisturizer. The marketing is essentially selling you a diamond, absolute luxury, unparalleled rejuvenation. But when we strip away the branding and actually analyze the chemical makeup, that miracle essentially boils down to algae extract, mineral oil, and some basic moisturizers. There's literally nothing impossibly rare here. There's nothing revolutionary that modern science hasn't already replicated 1,000 times over. You aren't paying for a magical cure. You're paying for the brand equity, the luxury image, and for sure, that undeniable feeling of exclusivity. So the real question we have to ask ourselves is it actually worth it? Is the prestige of having that gorgeous jar on your vanity worth a 500% markup when drugstore alternatives are using almost the exact same active ingredients? When you're standing right there at the beauty counter, it is so easy to get swept up in the glamour of it all. But you really have to stop and wonder if the brand name alone is worth hundreds of extra dollars for the exact same level of hydration. And hey, this pattern of mystical marketing definitely isn't unique to La Mer. Let's look at SKI. This is another absolute powerhouse in the luxury market, famous for their facial treatment Essence. And yeah, just like our last example, it commands a severely high premium. They've built an entire empire around this highly publicized ingredient called Pitera. It sounds super technical, like a rare scientific marvel or a breakthrough compound discovered by sheer accident. But chemically speaking, it's simply a type of fermented yeast extract. SKI gives you this beautifully crafted origin story about ancient sake brewers with remarkably youthful hands. And look, it's a compelling narrative, it really is. But the real-world equivalent is far closer to the standard yeast you'd use to bake bread or brew beer. Fermenting ingredients is totally standard practice in incredibly affordable skincare today, mostly because it's just really good at hydrating and soothing the skin. So you gotta ask, did the product actually change your skin's cellular structure, or did that fantastic origin story just change your perception of what it was doing? Okay, now we're at brand number 3, and this is where things get genuinely crazy. Drunk Elephant. This brand absolutely exploded online. They totally dominated social media with these trendy, brightly colored packages paired with luxury-level prices, and they became an absolute must-have basically overnight. Drunk Elephant heavily leverages the whole clean beauty movement to justify their spot in the market. But here's the catch, and this is a big one. Clean beauty is literally just a marketing invention. Because there are no strict government regulations or universal standards, brands can define clean however they want, ride the massive consumer wave, and hike up the price accordingly. It definitely sounds healthier, but it almost always just means more expensive. When you look past those trendy neon-colored caps and the so-called clean halo, the formulas are surprisingly straightforward. We're looking at basic, albeit effective, actives like vitamin C and peptides. These are workhorse ingredients. You can find them widely available in budget-friendly serums at literally any local pharmacy. Yet they charge a massive premium, even when the dermatological results are fundamentally identical to much cheaper, unhyped products on the market. Now, our next one might actually surprise you a bit, because it's a brand universally beloved for its pure elegance. Tatcha. When you see Tatcha, you instantly see beautiful packaging, a true luxury feel, and a brand identity deeply inspired by traditional skincare rituals. It looks premium, and I'll be honest, it certainly feels premium on the skin. You definitely get a stunning, almost gift-like unboxing experience with them. But the core of their formulas? It relies heavily on rice, green tea, and algae. Now, these are fantastic, skin-loving ingredients, absolutely. But they are also incredibly common and super inexpensive to source. You are paying a heavy premium for the sensory experience, the little weighted spatula, and that gorgeous vanity aesthetic, not necessarily for a performance that outpaces accessible brands using those exact same basic elements. All right, finally, we have arrived at the absolute peak of the price mountain. Brand number 5, La Prairie. We're not just talking luxury anymore, this is ultra luxury skincare. They heavily promote advanced science, anti-aging breakthroughs, and complex cellular technology to justify existing in a completely different tier of the consumer market. Some of La Prairie's products routinely soar past $500, $800, and even over $1,000 for a single container. That kind of pricing strategy creates this incredibly powerful psychological illusion. It literally makes you feel that by spending that much, you are purchasing the absolute pinnacle of human scientific achievement, bottled exclusively for those who can afford it. But here is the ultimate hidden truth of this entire explainer. Independent dermatological studies rarely ever find that these $1,000 creams outperform standard accessible skincare in any meaningful way. All those claims about cellular technology and rare caviar extracts sound deeply impressive in a glossy magazine spread, but biological reality is just way simpler. Your skin can only absorb so much. More money simply does not equal better skin. So what actually does work? Well, dermatologists consistently agree that a basic, consistent routine is your real roadmap to great skin. You need a gentle cleanser, a solid moisturizer, daily sunscreen, and a proven, well-researched active like retinol. That's really it. Those are the foundational elements that yield actual results, and absolutely none of them require taking out a second mortgage to achieve. Look, the main takeaway here isn't that luxury products are inherently bad. A lot of them smell amazing, they have fantastic textures, and they feel wonderful to use. But their exorbitant prices are funding brilliant marketing departments and spectacular packaging, not necessarily brilliant science. Great skin isn't about spending more, it's about spending smart. It's about reading the ingredient label, actually understanding what your skin needs, and ignoring the brand name printed on the front of the bottle. I want to leave you with one final provocative thought today. Are you paying for dermatological results, or are you just paying for the dopamine hit of luxury? There's no wrong answer if you know exactly what you're buying. But hey, it's your skin and it's your money. Just make sure you know exactly what's inside the jar before you hand over that credit card. Thanks so much for joining me today, Focus Learners. Keep questioning the hype, keep analyzing the data, and I'll see you in the next explainer.